NHS just had their first meeting with the newest members. New members learned about what the chapter does and how to use the volunteer hour logging system interview. In the next few weeks, the chapter will be hosting an induction ceremony to officially welcome the new members. Forensics is assigning categories and starting to practice their pieces. They'll have around 3 weeks to prepare for the first competition of the season. And now the sports recap. These are all updated since I turned in what was on your things. Dance team just competed at Freedom with their pom and jazz routines, and they're making appearances at our home games. Right now, they're hosting a pizza fundraiser through Domino's to get new uniforms for their team. Girls basketball hosted Parents' Night on January 16th and won with a score of 54-39 against Rhinelander. Boys basketball fought against Rhinelander on January 16th as well, defeating them with the final score being 75-61. And finally, the hockey team has a game tonight at the Rec Center at 7, and last week they won in double overtime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, special presentation, discussion, possible decision, donation from the, I hope I pronounced Brzezinski Foundation for the Food Pantry. You want us to come forward?
Come on up.
Come on up. I think we'll also get a picture, but thank you for the generous donation.
Yes.
That is incredible.
We were happy to be with
Somebody lost the check.
you. Yeah.
Just stand right, scoot over just a little bit, and then right there is perfect. Get Dan in the back. Just cover Dan up.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
That's great.
Thank you.
I love that.
That is awesome.
Do you have anything to add or anything you want
Anyone
to talk
say?
about briefly?
Anybody want to say anything?
Any questions you have about the food pantry either?
I don't know if you want to take just 20 seconds, ladies, and just talk about what you do with the food pantry.
Yeah, so every week, we put food together for kids to have on the weekend that may or may not have food at home, parents in and out.
Parents working, shift work, that kind of thing. Try and make it stuff that they can heat up and make for themselves. We're currently serving district-wide about 75 kids. It kind of fluctuates week to week, but that's been running pretty steady, I'd say, for the last 5 years-ish.
How long have
that many kids?
you two have been doing this for a long time?
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah, Greta was, in 7th grade when they had a service learning project, so we started that, and the kids.
Close to 15 years?
Started, yeah.
Yeah.
So it just started
awesome.
small and got a little bigger, and now it's, we're so thankful that people are very generous. I mean, so often we get a note or a surprise, or I can get a
Yeah, this
surprise
was a
call.
total surprise. I never answer calls from people I don't know, but it seems a little
That's a scam, right?
She just gave me goosebumps. I was like, oh my gosh. She just
So,
blew me out of the
yeah,
water.
so this will really help us for the rest of this school year and then getting set up for next school year.
That's awesome, thank you.
And
Thank
if
you.
you want me to say just a
Yeah,
few words
Yeah.
about
please.
the foundation as well. The Anthony P. Brzezinski Foundation was founded by my uncle, Anthony Brzezinski, and my dad was his brother. And anyway, we're a private foundation run by family. My uncle was a very generous man who did well for himself. He was a bachelor, and he founded the foundation back in 2004. He passed away in spring of 2023, and from there we are moving forward with his legacy. And so he had a special place in his heart. He grew up in Bevent, Wisconsin. That's where he was born and raised. Did very well for himself in real estate, and so we're really focused on community, especially rural communities that are near and sort of dear to the central Wisconsin area and everything. So we were just really happy. We got sort of to the end of the year, and as a board, we're like, well, what should we do? What should we do? And we picked 3 rural food banks that we wanted to support. So Feeding Our Future, the Wittenberg Food Pantry, as well as Rothschild. So just to give you a sense of sort of where we focus our energy. So yeah, so we were really excited to be able to do this. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Gorman to approve. Second by Bauer. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 7B, discussion summer school presentation.
So this is just an overview of some of the early planning regarding summer school. Dates have been looked at. Couple factors that are dictating how summer school runs this year a little bit include the construction here at the school. So all of summer school, with a very few exceptions, is going to have to be at the elementary school. So size and space requirements are dictating some of our planning with summer school. Our early out due to construction allows us to get our same 5 weeks in the month of June, which might be exciting to families to be able to get all 5 weeks in starting June 1st, and we'll finish July 2nd. Daily schedule is still being worked on, but it will look very similar to what it did last year. New this year, or maybe a revisit from a past attempt, is exploring a small required academic piece for our youngest learners, especially K through 5. This coincides with the requirement for reading alignment with Act 20. If it's good for some, maybe it would be good for all. And so we're looking at improving engagement, supporting that academic growth, hopefully increasing attendance. So proposed timeline is we're continuing. I believe a survey went out today, and if not today, tomorrow, recruiting staff interest so we can hire as many of our internal staff as possible before reaching out to external. We're going to firm up that daily schedule. Another part of the logistics that is something we're figuring out with David from Chartwell's is with one cafeteria and all students in one building, lunch might be a challenge to serve this year, especially given the size and scope of that cafeteria versus what they would have had access to here. So we're working on that before we firm that up. And then we will get the classes all put together and out to families, hopefully before spring break is the anticipated time.
Any questions?
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Item 7C, discussion elementary school presentation.
All right, Mr. Fitzgerald is up.
Favorite part of school?
Okay.
Let's do it. I just texted out of it. Want to have them start?
All right, so I have an awesome team with me here. Tonight I'm just going to let them introduce themselves and tell you what they teach, and then we'll go from there.
Allison McCarty, first grade. Kenny Knapp, third grade. Lori Hodson, STEM. Andrea Lewin, second grade.
Jay Daniels, second grade, but on behalf of kindergarten tonight.
So I thought the best place to start is with the students. All right, that's why we're here, right? The kids, that's what it's all about. So it's kind of hard to bring elementary students here tonight at the board meeting, so I'm bringing them to you via video. And I simply asked them, what do you enjoy most about Mosinee Elementary School? A few of them did need a little bit more specific prompts to that, but we'll see what they say. This just goes from 4K up through third grade, so we're going to start with the youngest here and go from there.
What do you like to do in school?
Build. Done.
You like to build things in class? Cool. Part of school.
Don't have
rotations.
Math rotations, and what about the math rotations?
The color by numbers.
Cool. All right, thank you. Favorite part of school?
Okay. Okay, friends.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. What's your favorite part of Mosinee Elementary School?
Lunch.
What about the classroom when you're learning?
Our many math, because we also write and do math to explain what we did in our lesson.
Awesome, thank you.
Like learning in math, so when I grow up, I'm gonna be like a decent person to know what to do, and I'm gonna. I like reading because I get to read with my friends.
Why else?
Because I get to read funny stuff with my friends.
Funny stuff,
Wind. I like wind because we're building robots and they're math robots. And I think the area is going to be a little over 2,000.
So, there was no editing there. You got the straight up truth. As you saw, lunch can be a favorite part, recess can be a favorite part, but I thought that was pretty interesting to get a point of view from the students. The next part we'd like to talk about, and maybe we'll just go by grade level here, so Andrew, you can start with your second grade community events.
Yep, so second grade puts on a wonderful holiday concert with Mrs. Tice. And then something we do special every year is a coin drive. So amongst the classrooms, all the kids collect coins. We do like penny and pajamas, so they get to wear something. It helps them learn to identify coins, bring in coins, count coins. We learned that a little bit can add up to a lot, so they're just bringing in a little bit. And at the end, when we present the check, we invite the food pantry here, the Community Center Hope. She came and got the check. And after their concert and their donations, we gave them over $2,000 this year. So the kids were learning about giving this holiday season instead of just receiving. I think that was really powerful.
Third grade?
We have our family night at the school forest. This year was at the end of September. It's every fall. And the kids learned all about the trail and how to lead their families around. And then families were invited in the evening to hike the trail and to have some fun activities too. So it's a great activity.
First grade puts on Grandparents' Day. We also work with Mrs. Tice to learn Grandparents' Day songs. Grandparents come in, they have a snack, they have coffee. We try to discourage the kids from drinking coffee with them for the rest of the day. But they enjoy singing to them, and then they do activities about grandparents, what school was like for them versus what school is like for kids now. So it is a fun little engaging activity for kids to realize how lucky they are.
And the kindergartners went to a pumpkin patch with their families and learned about the life cycle of a pumpkin amongst some other games and stuff. So these are just a few of the many things of how we bring the community and family members to the school.
Although I teach second grade, I am here for kindergarten tonight. One thing that we do, kindergarten through second grade, is our UFly curriculum, and UFly stands for University of Florida Literacy Institute. And basically, this is just our phonics curriculum that's aligned with the science of reading. And this, we use kindergarten through second grade, individual letter sound instruction. It's our explicit, systematic, and cumulative instruction. And what's really, really cool about UFly is that we teach the new concepts every single day, but then at the same time, they're reviewing old concepts. I've had 5th and 4th and 3rd grade teachers come to us and say that it's a really good curriculum compared to what we used in the past. So we're excited about that.
first grade is currently working on animal research reports. We just started our nonfiction reading and our nonfiction writing unit, and so we have children, we pair them up pretty strategically, and the pairs of students decide together what animal they want to research. So they work together to learn about those animals. We take them down to the library where they get to check out books, but we also have them go on Pebble Go, which is a subscription that the district pays for us, which is great because it is super helpful with kids researching all the way K3. So they do this research, they look at the animal's body features, their habitat, their diet, and their life cycle, and then they also have an interesting facts portion. They write their research, they take notes, and then they write their research report, and then pairs of students go up in front of the class and present their reports. So it encourages collaborations between partners, those durable skills that we're looking for students to have. They have to collaborate, communicate. Sometimes they have to kind of work through arguments or disagreements with what they want to include. They both utilize books and technology to access that information, which is important all the way through high school. And they are practicing speaking and listening standards when they present to their classmates.
Okay, second grade, one of our favorite literacy celebrations is called our Fancy Word Parade. I know a lot of you had kids who participated in that in the past, but it's one of our favorite ways to really help kids develop their vocabulary and also their expressive language skills. So they find a word that in a text that is new to them or fancy to them. They get to use their creativity and artistic skills to create posters. Most of them get really creative with costumes or props. They use it in a sentence, and then we get to parade around to other classrooms to share that, so then their speaking and listening and presenting skills are also in place. And they're saying as kids see the same words over and over, we're hoping that they go through and start using those words in their reading or writing, and our kids are so proud of it. It's kind of become a tradition, so when they hear it, they're like, yay, and then they get to go back and visit some of their favorite teachers. So always a really fun event for us for the spring.
So third grade's been really working on project-based learning, and one of the ways that we've been doing that is by with our interactive read aloud. It's a 3-day cycle, and on the third day of rereading that story, we have some sort of a project. So it could be lots of different kinds, but what we're highlighting here is our reader's theater, and a lot of times we plug into AI the book that we're reading, and it helps us come up with a script for the students to read. They get into teams of students, they practice, they're working on fluency and decoding skills. They're also really focusing on understanding that text better, and so the comprehension skills along with it. So we're incorporating all of that reading, and then they perform for each other. So they get up in front of the class and perform their reader's theater for everyone. So.
We might see some of them on stage in a few years, probably, right?
All right, so I'm speaking on behalf of the specials team. Just some updates. Social studies and computer science, they've started using the VR goggles more often. Renee took the kids on an interactive field trip to a cultural fest and to a museum. And with the VR goggles, there are different tools, like one they can pick up artifacts off the shelf, and depending on how they hold this dice-shaped cube, they can look inside the artifact or on the outside of the artifact in a 3D in front of them. At the Culture Fest afterwards, they got to write a retell of their experience and what they noticed and learned and appreciated. Chris had them go to a pond habitat in a temperate forest before going to the school forest and making connections this fall. As well as he has them designing and use ornaments and Valentine type keychains for their families. So those are 2 big projects they've been doing. In art, Rob has been using some of the new equipment to help prepare for our family night coming up and the art show. And then investigating ways we can make adaptive tools for students to build equity within art and different specials areas with school. I found the 3D printer for myself, making, like when we studied salamanders and the features of salamanders, well, some kids aren't comfortable or like articulated animals to represent, so all students have a way of entering that lesson. We went up as a team and visited Learn, Build, Fly. It's up at the Wisconsin Airport, as well as a rep from CTEC came and gave a presentation on the future of AI and the importance of that content vocabulary and understanding in manufacturing. People aren't gonna just have one job or role, and kind of how you talk to AI to get it to do some of those repetitive long tasks by learning the vocabulary and how they use it for their graphic design projects as well. I find a benefit by having longer specials is students are able to do their own teach me time and teach other time, which is good on building those vocabulary skills. I can hear, and when I say, oh, have you tried this? I can kind of support what they've already been doing. So the tools are what we use for regular lessons, so they feel good because they're showing me and what they're proud of. So it's a nice give and take. They often will do math. They do love math. And they'll be like, is this right? Did I do this right? Can I do it this way? Right, with the different tools. So that's been fun. Next one. So here you're going to see that we're using the equipment to create props and instruments for music. So talking about ways we can reuse waste. So the 3D filament, there's a lot of poop involved, so they can make instruments for them. The chomp saws, they're working on fractions and creating miniature models to the 1/4 scale. Just tasks like that, safety, some of their personal protective equipment, how we keep our hands and hair safe. So, yeah.
Thanks. So that's a little bit about what's going on in the elementary school. Do you have any questions for us?
Very good.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Daniels.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I didn't have Steve on here. We can jump and have him do a construction
Yeah,
update.
yeah.
Steve, do you want to do a quick construction update, where we are with construction and where we're headed? Sure, please.
Yeah, so as you can see when you drive by, things are changing little by little. Right now, the building is watertight for all intents and purposes. We have to cut the roof open for installation of things yet, but that'll happen. The crews right now are inside the building, so the masons are working inside as well, putting up masonry walls. They're doing actually our kitchen walls right now, and our big freezer is going in as well. So a lot of things happening in that area since the last walkthrough. The outside steel panels are going on, and the window frames will be going in shortly, based on the weather, of course. So right now, we're not going to hold on inside. But over Christmas break, there was a lot of work that was done. We opened up some of the existing parts of the building that had asbestos and whatnot, so that's been removed within reason. That'll be an ongoing thing as the project goes forward. But for all intents and purposes, you know, we are actually tracking very well on the schedule. Some of our great equipment is already on site, which is great. Our fans are here, our curbs are coming. So that's a big push, because when you look at a lot of the structure, it'll be open, it'll be sprayed out, so they're hanging all the ductwork and all the conduits and stuff. So lots of pieces that happen in the building. But I would tell you that we have very good contractors on site, very minimal problems. Equipment showing up, so pretty much everybody's pretty happy, and they're working inside where it's warm right now. So we'll take that for what it's worth, but we'll keep you folks posted. If anything comes up that's major, we'll let you know. But you see the bi-weekly reports in Findorf, they do a wonderful job doing that. I think it tracks us very well. And I don't know if I ever told you or not, we do have a camera that's monitoring the site 24/7. So there's gonna be a nice time lapse, and we're all done with this project. You'll see it all come in real time. So that'll be a nice thing to put on the website for us too. But other than that, no big surprises, which is huge for us. So financially, I think it's a nice bucket, and we're just working through some things. So any questions I can answer for you folks?
Hope I don't hear from you.
Me too. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Item 8, public forum. The public forum provides the public with the opportunity to ask questions or address issues of agenda and non-agenda items. Anybody sign up? No. Okay. Item 9, consent agendas. Was there anything that needed to be pulled out?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
5B, the defined learning contract.
Okay.
All right, what this is a supplemental resource that can be used by any staff member in our middle school or our high school. So when you look at that contract, that is a,
Tom, can I stop you just for a second?
Yeah.
We should approve the rest.
We can do it either
Yeah.
way. Let's somebody make a motion.
I'll make the motion
Motion
to
to
approve,
approve
which is the one
all the
item.
consent agendas with the one item being taken out. We have a motion,
Second.
second by Zebro,
Stankowski.
by Gorman. Who made the second?
Clint.
Stankowski. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Now, we'll go to this item.
Sure. So what this is a supplemental resource that has two avenues. And so what brought us to looking at this resource is we've talked a lot here about two different items, both of which are met through this resource. The first one is how to create relevance in our classrooms and our schools by connecting academic work to careers, which this does a really great job of. And then the second part, if you recall back to when we talked about school report cards, one area that we know we need to do better on is our growth scores. And so part of that when we look at our growth scores is how are we engaging our students at a deeper level and ensuring that they're being pushed at a deep level versus just surface learning and moving on. And so defined learning has two different arms. They have a career arm and a academic arm. What the career arm provides is deep dives into all of the different career clusters and the different jobs within those career clusters. It offers pre-built project-based learning opportunities that will allow them to go into those careers, explore them at a deep level, learn about what it takes, what kind of skills it takes, what kind of education and training it takes to help us meet that goal of better aligning our students with the pathway that they're hopefully going to choose after high school. On the academic side, and that's what brought our attention to this software, was I was attending a webinar that was highlighting schools who faced a similar problem. Solid achievement but low growth scores, and so how to address that through deep learning, and it was highlighting schools who have used the project-based learning modules here to help engage students at a deeper level while aligned to standards. So all of those standards are aligned directly to Wisconsin standards. Teachers can search by standard or their content area, and it will populate project-based learning modules that gives our students choice about what kind of project they want to do based on their skills, strengths, and passions. And then on the back end of this, there is personalization. They will build a portfolio that's aligned to the portrait of graduate skills that we select. So that way, as students are progressing through this work, it will compile and help them track their progress and growth along those skills. So if we wanted to be able to monitor how our students are doing, let's say if we highlight, problem solving or communication as one of those skills, it will track their progress through all the projects that directly align to those skills and help them build a digital portfolio. On the career side, there's also prep on how to prepare for certain careers. So when we look at our high school students, if they have certain jobs that they are looking to go into, they can upload their resume. It will cross-reference that resume with job descriptions in that field and help them build a better resume, give them tips of experiences they need to go out and get to be better prepared to get that job. It will give them AI-generated mock interviews where they can either type the answers or speak the answers and get feedback as to if you were sitting in an interview, here's where your answers fall short. You need to find experiences to highlight here if you want to go for that job. They have simulated job boards with all of the major corporations and careers. So say I want to work for Amazon, they have a simulated job board for Amazon. I click on there. They compile all the different jobs that have been posted by Amazon with the job descriptions, qualifications. You can then upload your resume, match it against that, get feedback on if you're ready to apply for that job or not. So what you're looking at on that contract is a 1 or a 3 year. I put the 3 year in because they gave us such a tremendous break if we wanted to commit, but also understand the idea of piloting for 1 year. They gave us a really big break. So like I said, that content cost is your top line. Typically that's $5,000 per module per building. We would have been looking at $24,000 for 1 year. They give it to us for just a little over 10. That professional development is that second line, which is the upkeep, and that is a la carte and negotiable. So for example, there is a line item there for coaching that I would reduce. We don't need the $6,000 worth of coaching. However, I do think we need the 1 day kickoff PD for our staff, as well as the 2 half days to get it up and running. They've also agreed that if we sign now, they'll give us full access now and essentially give us this semester for free. So what you'd be paying for is next year's budget. We have this money allocated in unspent materials adoption, so it would all come out of this year's, no impact on next year's budget when we talk about preparing for that. And so I guess in conclusion, we think if we're going to start this journey around deeper learning competencies on the academic side and providing our middle school students with far earlier and better career access exploration and our high school students with more relevant career exploration, this resource helps us get our feet underneath us to do it faster, quicker, right away while we continue to get the experience.
And I asked Tom to pull this because it was something new and we didn't have a lot of information prior to the meeting, and I just thought it'd be good for the whole board to hear it. And with the budget, that I just had some questions. But do they have to? Is there a timeline when you need to commit to this?
The quote is good for 30 days. I mean, they reserve the right to change. Like I said, it is a pretty substantial price break, and I'm not sure they would honor it past the 30 days, but they might. I would just have to ask.
Do you know of any other school districts that use it?
So in Wisconsin, New Berlin Middle School is the one that I talked to that is using it for career exploration. And when we browsed this, that was probably the most relevant usage. Like I said, through that price break, they essentially threw the academic side in. We're paying for the careers and we get the academic side. But I do believe that there's also merit in these pre-built performance assessments as we continue to try and get deeper learning within our classrooms.
So if we would do a 1 year contract, next year, would the price possibly be more because we do have this break in this 1 year contract or 3 year contract? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would be open to negotiation. They would certainly have the ability to go back to the original price, which is why I did put the 3 year in there because of the break that they put in there. However, we would not, if we did re-up, we would not need that one-time implementation cost anymore. It would just be the content renewal.
So what's the total cost for 3 years versus the 1 year? Yeah, I have.
The content is just a little over 10 for 1 year, and it's 24 for 3 years.
Okay, 24 for 3 years. Is this taking?
Estimated numbers.
Okay.
I don't have it.
Is this
in front of
taking
me.
place of anything else we currently have right now? Or is
No.
this in addition to?
This is filling a void.
Okay.
We use Zello for career exploration, and that is the resource DPI has selected, and We waited on what to do with this because they just re-upped their contract with DPI, and DPI chose them again. We find that it lacks significant relevance. Every year, the kids redo the same interest inventory from 6th grade to 12th grade. It does not provide that connection. While they can watch videos about a certain career cluster, it doesn't connect the skills to the jobs within that cluster and what it takes to get there. And so we have to supplement with a lot of outside things, and to be frank, what's become about that is an absence of career exploration in our ACP at our lower levels.
So if this is going through middle school through high school, how many staff are we talking that would need to get involved or?
Yeah. What we would look to do with this semester of early adoption would be get our academic career planning teams together and prioritize the career side of things. So we would be looking at our counselors mainly, as well as our principals, our assistant principals, to start building how we would build this into the day for kids to start exploring, mostly through like a homeroom or a TA likely. And then on the academic side, we have a portion of our staff went through a free professional development the last 3 months on what performance assessments look like and how to build them. So we would introduce this as a supplement to that professional development that they're already doing as a way to kickstart some of their progress. And then next year we would do a full kickoff so everybody knew. That's what I like about this software. They're not nickel and diming you for every teacher that logs in. It's just a per building, so we can give access to all of our teachers and allow them to decide where this fits, if it fits. And if it doesn't, we know that the careers does, and we know that this will fit some classrooms.
So up front, if we did the 1 year, it would be the 22,000, but a little bit less maybe, and then 10,000 to renew, or it would be the 36,000 for a 3-year, but that's the one-time fee.
Correct.
Or else 20, and then when we renew, it'll be the 24,000. No, I'm sorry, 10,000.
Yeah, if they continue to honor that
after
price.
the 3rd year.
Yeah.
So have we gotten quotes from any other competitors?
I have not. I am not aware of a competitor that does the careers and the academic within one.
So do we utilize the career cruising as well with Zello? And I say that because when you look on the Department of Workforce Development website for the state of Wisconsin, that's what they are pairing together, is those two entities, the career cruising and the Zello.
Sure.
So, and if our overall objective is to, my opinion, try to retain individuals to live in Wisconsin because we're hemorrhaging people, they're moving elsewhere, which will help in retaining students, are we looking at pairing the Zello with the career cruising? And have we talked to Zello to say, is there anything else that you can offer as add-ons?
We have talked to Zello. They were here this fall ahead of the DPI renewal, telling us about some of the add-ons that they've added. Truly, the only additional add-on that we found would be engaging is they did add on a simulation, similar to, if you guys remember, Denny Flatham used to run the Real Life Academy here with our seniors. They've done a digital simulation along those same lines, giving you like a monthly budget, job. Other than that, they really didn't enhance their product at all. As far as career cruising, our access when they did Zello was limited to career cruising, so I haven't looked at that in a couple of years, to be honest with you. So that would be something I would have to explore.
I've used career cruising before with our kids.
It was before DPI chose Zello, that was our vendor, and then when they went with Zello, we lost a lot of that access.
Yeah, if we could revisit that and then see if there's any other competitors out there, just making sure that we're getting the best product and the best pricing. But in addition, we may find some options as well at the convention this week.
And they will be at the convention if you guys wanna stop and talk to them.
Good to know.
Motion, table, anything you wanna do?
I'll make a motion to approve the 1 year.
We have a motion by the 1 year,
Yeah, I would think we should do one.
the 1 year contract. We have a second.
A second.
A second by Bauer. Any discussion?
I think it's only right to go out and get other bids versus just giving budget concerns. Granted, it doesn't affect next year, but it's still money that we can save if we explore other options and perhaps find a better opportunity.
I'd almost like to see as long as we're all going down there, quite a few of us, and Greg, maybe to visit this and look at it, and then, I mean, if we got it, it's good for 30 days, we could bring this back next month. To approve.
I trust our administration. Okay. Motion, been a motion second, all those in favor say, let's do this way. I think we're gonna need a roll call vote.
Zebro?
No.
Gorman?
No.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Maple?
No.
Stankowski?
Yes.
Nowinski?
Yes,
Bauer?
Yes.
Nest?
Yes.
motion carries. All right.
I'm sorry, can I ask a follow-up? If we only do it for the 1 year, which I was a little leery of, what could we be potentially losing by not going for the 3 year?
Say it again, I didn't hear you.
I would say the biggest thing you're potentially losing by going from 1 year to 3 year is the price guarantee of having it for year 2 and year 3.
Which is what? Approximate?
What's the
cost?
price difference?
Yeah, if we don't do the 3.
What were they originally quoting us?
Well,
versus
like
what are they quoting us
the
for?
first quote I got from them was $5,000 per arm per building. So we would have been looking at 24,000 for 1 year.
Okay.
They gave us a little over 10. So what you risk, I suppose, is them after 1 year saying, we're gonna go back to our original pricing, where essentially that 3 year price is what the original 1 year. Now, one thing that maybe they would entertain, right, since we voted the 1 year, is if you guys are down there and talk to them and like what they see, maybe you can revisit the 3 year contract language. It can't hurt to ask if that's what you guys want.
Any other? Okay. Item 10, discussion possible decision, approval monthly voucher list, roll call vote.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thanks.
Huh?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Gorman, second by Nest. Thank you.
Gorman?
You're welcome. Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Maple?
Yes.
Stankowski?
Yes.
Nowinski?
Yes,
Bauer?
Yes.
Nest?
Yes.
And Zebro?
Yes.
motion carries. Item 11, discussion possible decision acceptance of monthly treasurer's report.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Gorman.
I'll second.
Second by Nest. Any discussion? Roll call vote?
Kaiser?
Yes.
Maple?
Yes.
Stankowski?
Yes.
Nowinski?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Nest?
Yes.
Zebro?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 12, new business. Discussion possible decision on resolution establishing parameters of the general sale of obligation bonds. Greg, I'll let you.
Yeah, and Rod can jump in because he's been working with this, but we did this last time we sold bonds. We did this, the parameters resolution, basically authorizing us to be able to sell them inside a certain parameter of interest rate prices, not to exceed. Reason being is then we can close on the sale when it's the right time to sell. Otherwise, if the parameters resolution is not there, then we'd have to have a special board meeting for the sole purpose of approving the sale of the bonds as they see fit. So this is really just a motion of efficiency more than anything else. Just by basically saying we agree to, the board agrees that we can sell the bonds at the most opportune time with an interest rate not to exceed, and I believe it's in here a little over 5%, I believe it was, which is tracking less than that, not to exceed 5.25%. So it's tracking actually less than that. Rod, do you have anything else to add?
No. You would have done the same agreement last
Yep, we did the same
February,
one a year ago.
or January, when we sold them in February, got the money in April.
I'll make the motion to
We have
approve.
a motion by Gorman,
I'll second.
second by Zebro. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 12B, discussion possible decision, resolution of open enrollment space ability and projections.
You know, this is something that happens every year. We have to do every year in January, we have to set our space availability caps for open enrollment. So 90, the large majority of the space availability caps for us comes in the form of special education. So that's why Brian has a little bit of a presentation together for you along with his projections. I will tell you, we are not recommending we close open enrollment for regular ed kids. If anybody that's a regular ed kid wants to come to Mosinee, we're more than willing to allow them. I don't know if you follow the paper highlights you get, but I don't know if you saw that Arrowhead is capping their open enrollment at 0, which is an interesting, those kids can move up here if they want to. But anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so just to kind of go over, you do this every single year, and what the requirements are, and you guys, we are in current compliance. All district policies have to, and ours is 5513, specify whether we consider open enrollment caps or not, establish a correct criteria, and we also talk about whether current attending siblings, how do they play into the caps, and if we're going to establish a waiting list. That is all specified in your policy. But what I quickly want to show you is how do we determine workloads. Now, this is something our special education teachers do every December prior to leaving for winter break. So they go through each student on their caseload, look at what are their accommodations, academic needs, medical needs, behavioral needs, and they score them on this, and this is all based off of a student's IEP. So they look through that, score a student on this, and a student is deemed to either be minimal, moderate, extensive, or comprehensive. And this is where the workload comes in that you'll see on what you are approving, the actual numbers of seat availability. If a student falls into that minimal, moderate range, they count as 1 seat. If they fall into extensive, that's where they count for 2 seats, comprehensive counts for 3. So what I do on my end is I look at each of these that our caseloads have completed, and the numbers you have in front of you, you're approving for the whole building, because that's how you approve it. But what I do on my end when the open enrollment applications actually come in, I monitor and say, how many seats does an elementary 3rd grade case manager have to make sure they're not exceeding the recommendation of a workload per case manager. But you guys look whole building, I monitor that internally to make sure we're not exceeding certain caps. So it doesn't mean like when you see that the middle school, for example, has 21 seats available, that doesn't mean I'm gonna automatically approve 21 in say 6th grade, and 6th grade's gonna have this huge influx. I manage the numbers to make sure I'm not overloading one grade and they're all going to one area. But this is how we calculate that workload. The big reason why do many districts look at limits within special education, really the biggest thing is to make sure we can still provide services. Because if I just make it open and say, I already get 21 in 6th grade, I'd be coming back to you as the board saying, I need another 6th grade special ed teacher because we had all these students come in. Because if you just leave it open, we still have to provide those services. So it's really to also help keep our budget where it is, so your Fund 27 transfer doesn't have this huge increase. I still have times I have to go to Ron saying, I had this student move in. I can't control the move-ins, but open enrollment is something we can control to try to keep our costs as predictable as possible within special education. So just with that, The biggest thing is with the areas we contract for, and this is also on the second document. We contract with CISA 9 for OT, PT, vision, deaf and hard of hearing. Since those are contracted and we technically do not employ those staff members, there are no seats available in those areas. So if I were to get an IEP that says, yeah, I might be able to take that student, but I see OT and PT in it, I would have to deny seeing we contract for those services, and they're not our staff members. So I don't have any space availability for that. So like I said, the second document that you have really starts, really starts to go over what's that seat availability. The one thing I wanna note, like I said, seats does not mean students, cause if I look at IEP as students extensive, they're gonna take 2 seats, comprehensive 3. One, I just wanna point, EC every year does have open seats because I roll their kids up to kindergarten while they still have one more child development screener, so they have to go through some evaluations and things like that. But one thing I always explain to them, and even at the elementary we have this quite a bit, we do get a lot of initial evaluations at that level. So what you approve tonight doesn't necessarily mean that's everything I'm gonna take open enrollment wise, because as a kid qualifies, I take a seat away because we had another student within our district qualify. So just know the number you're approving tonight, I just start working with this, and as we go through evaluations, I will remove seats as kids qualify. Our both elementary, middle school, and high school IB programs, our self-contained programs, are already at capacity, so we're not taking any open enrollment there if you approve this. Middle school's at 27, and then high school's at 21. We do have our speech and language pathologists. As you will see, we don't have a ton of seats, but our early childhood speech path sits in that same seat as our early childhood teachers. I roll Oliver's up to kindergarten. She doesn't know what she has coming yet because of that child development day, but that number will go down. So she does a great job, but she averages, just so you guys have an idea, she averages 40 evaluations a year. So that number always does, she gets to capacity usually by semester. So, and then that last piece of being at capacity for PT, OT, DHH, and visually impaired. Go ahead.
When you say that you evaluate the kids, you're talking about you evaluate the students in our district, whether they're 1, 2, or 3, depending on how much they need, how much assistance they need. But when you're taking an open enrollment from another district, are you privy to that information from the district that this kid was a 3? Do you have 3?
Yep, so what happens when I actually evaluate these in May? Because I don't look through them, and this is how many districts do it. So when open enrollment closes, I then request the IEP from the other district that's allowable under open enrollment for me to say, hey, I know in May roughly how many seats have I taken away due to evaluations. But then I can look at the IEP and say, based on their services, are they minimal, moderate, extensive, comprehensive? So I do get to see the kid's IEP before I say, yes, I can take that student. Or deny.
When they apply, they have to tell you they have an IEP?
Yes, that's a question right on the application. So.
Do you sometimes just leave, because how long does it take for an average kid who comes into kindergarten if that's their first at-bat at school? They wouldn't have an IEP. So sometimes it might take a lot of time and a lot of interventions to get all that together.
Yep.
So then do you think maybe we should err on the side of caution and lead a little bit more, because there's going to be kids within our own district who are going to eventually need those spots?
So I wish I could do that. That's not allowable.
Oh.
So, because I would like to do that, knowing, because I know I have some kids, it's called the SST process, the student success team. I have some kids in the middle of intervention, things like that. So if they qualify by the end of the school year with us ending early, I have everything I need to take that seat away for open enrollment.
Right.
But if they're one like, oh, we didn't get everything in, they're going into next year, I can't count that as part of a seat. So.
So the seats available then, that's a bylaw number where you have to offer that. We're able to cap it at that number, but by law, you can't say, we've got 22 seats available, but we're having a really hard time in the elementary school this year, so we're not gonna stretch ourselves even more thin than we are. We're gonna cap it at 15. You can't do that, is what you're saying?
I have to look at the students we have. The only time you're allowed to do that, where I could just say, we're stretching ourselves thin, I'm just capping the elementary or the middle school or the high school. The only way you can do that is if I were to have unfilled special ed positions. That's where the state does say, since you don't have positions filled, you're already working at a deficit, so you can just cap that building for a year because you're not even fully staffed.
Sure. All right, thanks.
Other questions? Okay. I will see the motion then.
Can I just make
Yeah,
one
go for
before,
it.
just because we have this number of seats, just so you know, projecting out, last year when I worked through this, I didn't even get applications to fill all of our seats. So just because that's the number, that doesn't mean that will be what we're getting in. It's just, that's what I have to work with. And again, if I know there's one grade that's really high, and I get one in, and I'm like, those case managers are already at capacity, I can say that grade level is at capacity. My availability is here, you just approve by the building.
Any other, anything else?
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion by Zebro to second by Kaiser. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. All right, item C, discussion possible decision, gymnastics cooperative with Stevens Point, Pacelli, and Stratford.
Yeah, we already did the Stratford one, but since we approved the Stratford one, Stevens Point Pacelli has now come forward and is requesting to co-op as well. So because the timeline hasn't been completely done, we have to get it in by the end of this month. We have to go through the process and have it approved again to add Stevens Point Pacelli to the existing cooperative that we already have with Stratford. So instead of sharing the cost in half, now we're gonna share the cost in thirds. So it's saving us even a little bit more money.
Do we have an estimate of how many?
I do not know, but I know that they're looking at that, and then they might be looking at wanting to co-op with us with one other additional sport as well. Depends upon how this one goes.
So are the meets always going to be held in Mosinee then? If we host if there is a meet, then we would be the host?
Most likely, yes, we're the host school of the co-op, and then also we have the equipment.
Okay, but as time goes on, are they going to help share with the replacement? Or is that part of their?
That's part of the requirement, is they share the cost.
And staff?
Yeah, we take the cost of the program and divide it by 3. And everybody pays a third. Right now, it's divided by 2.
Are we thinking we need more staff then if they were to bring in 12 kids apiece?
Um,
I can't imagine. that's
Then
what it
we
is,
may
but-
have to add a coach, but then that cost gets floated
Still
back
three
into
ways.
it.
So right now we have one coach for all three. Is that
We have
correct?
one coach, and then we
And
have an assistant that does middle school as well.
Where do they practice?
The middle school gym
At ours.
down in the basement. And so far, from everything I've heard, the co-op with Stratford's going well.
Yeah, I talked to
It's
the coaches.
going amazingly well.
And
And this is-
I heard also from.
This is the same situation, those students from Pacelli, they're responsible to get here for
Yep,
practice
yep.
or whatever it is.
Yep, we're not on the hook for any of that.
I'd make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Bauer to accept the co-op, second by Stankowski. Any other decisions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item D, discussion possible decision 26-27 budget development calendar.
Yeah, we have a budget development calendar that we have to put together every year. The calendar that you see before you is very similar to the one that was before you last year. The dates were probably just updated, so Rod put this together. that kind of gives us an idea of how we're gonna work our way through the budget process, that we've already started actually, so it's already kind of plugging along as we speak. But we are recommending approval of this calendar.
Any other questions, discussions? I like the fact that we're organized and have a calendar. Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Nest,
I'll second.
second by Kaiser. Any more discussion? Oh, go ahead.
Just a question, not discussion, but just a question. You know, looking at when everything comes due, like, I know at one time we come back and we see if there needs to be any potential cuts. Will that be coming back at board meetings at certain times?
The plan is to bring the staffing plan together, the preliminary staffing plan next month.
Got it. Perfect.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, item 13, administrative reports. Any administrators have anything?
The only thing I have is, for those of you going to the convention, I kind of gave you a rough outline of things going on, and then Jackie gave you some stuff for hotels. I also shared that document with you electronically in case you're more of the electronic world. So you have a couple different options. Just, you know, everybody's got my cell phone number. Usually that's how we communicate down there, is via text message or whatever. But if you have any questions, I'll let Jackie or I know.
Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. Okay. Any other administrator reports? Okay, thank you. Item 14, other reports. The WASB report, A.
So obviously we have the state convention coming up. There is another, it's the state law conference, I believe. Yeah, that's Thursday, February 19th at Elkhart Lake, and probably I'll got a postcard for that. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Item B, CISA 9.
Okay, CISA 9, we had, last month, Linda Myers gave a report on the director, or she's the director of excellence in teaching, and she gave a report on that, which was very interesting. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of, other than, you know, a few things about the state convention coming up involving the CISA. And they said everybody should stop by and say hi. So.
Thank you both. Item 16, or item 15, pardon me, future agenda items, Greg?
Yeah, we have employee compensation, which is just the start of the process. And then, like I said, I forgot to put it on here, was the preliminary staffing plan, shared services contract with CISA 9, strategic plan dates that we're working our way through, trying to finalize academic and career plan, and then the high school is up next month.
Anything else, guys, any discussion? Okay, item 16, movement into closed executive session. Section 19.85 reads, consider employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation, data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction and exercise responsibility. We will be talking about A, discussion, possible decision, superintendent evaluation, B, discussion, possible decision, administrative evaluations, and item C, discussion, possible decision, amendment to the director of technology contract. I think we have to do a roll call, correct?
Yep,
Roll
I'll
call
make
vote?
the motion.
We have motion, thank you.
Second.
Second, motion by Gorman, second by Bauer.
Yes. Megan Stankowski?
Yes.
Kaminsky?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Nest?
Yes.
Zero?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
All right, we will go into closed session, 5-minute break, and then we're back.